Welcome to the Quantum Leap Leapcast, where each week we discuss the brand new episodes of Quantum Leap, answer any and all questions, and give our own thoughts and opinions on the adventures of a doctor who's traveling through time trying to make things right that once went wrong. So guys, welcome to the Leapcast, and welcome to Quantum Leap. Okay, how's that, guys? Can you hear me now? Let me know if you can hear me now. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me now. I'm sorry. Can you hear anything? Let me know. Lack, can you hear me? You got okay, good. I'm sorry. Like I said, it's a new platform, so I apologize, guys. Now, like I said, this stream, we're going to be doing weekly episodes of this. The Leapcast is going to be a weekly reaction show after each episode of Quantum Leap when it airs on 10 p.m. Eastern on NBC. Right after it goes off at 11 o'clock, we're going to do a live stream discussing everything and anything to do with Quantum Leap in that episode. Now, those that don't know, Quantum Leap was a show that premiered in 1989 on NBC. It was created and produced by Don Bellisario. Anyone who's an old school fan of 80s and 70s TV shows, Don Bellisario was an insane genius that came up with so many shows. Magnum P.I., Battlestar Galactica, and so many others, guys. And by the way, thank you, Rolando, for dropping links. Thank you, everyone, for dropping links. If you have a link, drop your channel in there. Guys, This community is about growth. We grow together. Hashtag grow together. So, guys, this first episode, this is episode 1 of the Leapcast, and this is going to be basically a primer for anyone and everyone who might not remember everything about Quantum Leap, or maybe you never saw it. We're going to go over everything Quantum Leap. We're also going to discuss the new Quantum Leap. What we know about the new Quantum Leap. We have a lot of stuff to discuss, a lot of stuff to go over here, guys. Here we go. Thank you, Ghost Warrior. Rolando's dropping links. Guys, I want to thank everyone who's popping in here. Rolando, dropping everybody's link. Thank you so much. So this is my first time using EVMux, so it's going to be a little touch and go, and I apologize if there's any issues. It's a pretty cool platform, by the way. No, I am not sponsored by EVMux, but hey, EVMux, if you want to sponsor me, you can hit me in the socials. So Quantum Leap was a show that started back in 1989. The intro that you heard on every episode, Dr. Sam Beckett led an elite group of scientists into the Nevada desert to work on a special secret government project known as Quantum Leap. He was a quantum physicist, and he theorized about actually time travel using string theory. And we can go into that, but I'm not going to bore everyone right now. But what he did was he was pressured by the government to prove his theories or lose funding. So what is he to do? He makes an unscheduled, preemptive leap in the accelerator chamber. Okay. Now, those that remember the OG Quantum Leap, this is Scott Bakula. He leaped into children. He leaped into teenagers, mothers, a pregnant woman once. He leaped into just about everyone you could potentially think of. He even leaped into a chimpanzee once. Yeah, he leaped into a chimp once. Dave, is this your first time? Why? Is there some sound issues, guys? Let me know if you're having sound issues here. Let's see here. So it looks like there's some technical difficulties. Let me know if you guys are having, if you can hear me, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. If you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. You dropped off the air for a bit. Okay, it looks like It looks like if I'm doing slideshows, you're not going to hear me, guys. So I'm going to have to work on that. I'm apologizing. Um, Basically, I was just saying how Sam leaped into different characters throughout different points in time in history. He would leap into men. He would leap into women. When you roll B footage for you lose audio. Okay, thanks, Lack. Yeah, it's something new. This is a new platform. I'm testing it out, so I do apologize, guys. But Quantum Leap dealt with. I mean, he leaped into everyone, kids, children. He leaped into famous people. In the last season, season 5 of Quantum Leap, he leaped into Elvis. He leaped into Marilyn Monroe's bodyguard. He leaped into Dr. Ruth Restheimer. He even leaped into Lee Harvey Oswald. This was a show that had a balance of comedy, serious tones. They dealt with rape. They dealt with race, segregation. They even tackled the Ku Klux Klan. They tackled Vietnam. I mean, it dealt with so many different levels. It dealt with Native Americans. I mean, it dealt with all different social, whether you were rich, whether you were lower class. He leaped into different walks of life. He leaped into people who were in a psychiatric hospital for treatment. He even leaped into special needs. He leaped into Jimmy LaMonta was a character he leaped into who had Down syndrome. He also leaped into a Vietnam vet who had missing legs, although Sam had his legs. There was a lot of things, a lot of different social topics that Quantum Leap dealt with, and it was ahead of its time. Back in 1989, we didn't have shows that did this kind of a thing. It was a sci-fi show without being a sci-fi show. To me, Quantum Leap was very much similar to Star Trek, the original Star Trek in some regards. Because Gene Roddenberry in the original Star Trek series, he wrote a lot of social and world shattering events and tones into that show. With Quantum Leap, they tackled it full blown. You know, whether it's a family going through divorce or an abusive father. I mean, they dealt with everything. Sam even leaped into himself once, as he leaped into his teenage self days before his brother would be shipping out to Vietnam. And Quantum Leap was just one of those shows that I think was ahead of its time. And I think if it aired today, it'd have to be a different beast. And I think that's what Don Belisario is doing with the new show. So, guys, I'm going to, let me see if I can pull up some images here. And by the way, guys, once again, if anyone wants to join in and talk about Quantum Leap, the link is right there, guys. If anyone wants to hop in, everyone and anyone is welcome to hop in as long as we're going to be talking about Quantum Leap. Now, I have my reservations about the new show. I'm not going to lie about that. We're going to see where they take the new show. I have a lot of information already about it. Yeah, Ghost Warrior says, I remember the Lee Harvey Oswald. Yeah, the Lee Harvey Oswald was an insane episode because Sam started losing part of himself. Now, when Sam leaps, he leaps into that person, and sometimes part of their mind kind of merges with Sam on some episodes. And like there's episodes when Sam leaps into Dr. Ruth Westheimer, who was a prolific psychiatrist and TV and radio psychologist that people would go to for sexual advice. And at one point, he actually starts mimicking her voice and talking just like she did. Sometimes this would happen. Sometimes parts of that person he leaped into would carry over into him. Lee Harvey Oswald was one of the strongest incidents of that, where parts of Oswald was taking over Sam. There is even a part where they show Al and Oswald in the waiting room. And that, by the way, those that don't know, when Sam leaped, it was the machine that he leaped. He used the Quantum Leap Accelerator, which he built to basically shoot him into time. Afterwards, there was no equipment. There's been discussions in Quantum Leap groups for years that, if they shut off the equipment, he'll stop leaping. No. Once you're fired into the accelerator, you're pretty much leaping forever. Or so we know, as far as we understood it back in the show. So what happens is when Sam leaps into that person leaps into his body in the future. And that person has to be kept in the waiting room. If they're not kept in the waiting room, that can prevent Sam from leaping. There was an incident where someone actually broke out of the base and Al had to hunt him down. It was a pretty intense episode. But that's pretty much what happens. When that person leaps, when Sam takes their place, they go into the future and they have his image. But during the Oswald episode, when Al's talking to Oswald in the waiting room, parts of Sam start peeking through. Of course, when Sam's peeking through, that means Oswald's peeking through at the other end. It was a pretty intense show back then. What do we got here? We got just trying to pull this up. Okay, I've been completely honest. I haven't seen all of the show yet. I just bought it. That's okay. All the episodes. I actually bought the entire original series on Vudu, VUDU. It's an online platform, pretty much similar to like Movies Anywhere and any other like Amazon Prime types, where you can just buy the shows right out. I still watch the shows every now and again. I'm actually re-binging Supernatural right now. I'm going to be rewatching Quantum Leap again. But with the new show, there's a lot that we have going on. Yeah, Ghost Warrior, it's perfectly fine. Some of the things I may talk about may be a little spoilery, so I do apologize in advance. But Sam leaped into so many people, but also there was a lot of elements about the show. Sam grew up on a farm in Elk Ridge, Indiana. You know, he was just a farm boy who had an insane intelligence and got to go to college early. And throughout the show, he actually had a wife, but he forgot about her because when he leaped into the past, he didn't even remember his memory. Or his name. He didn't know who he was or what he was doing the very first episode. Al had to appear to him, and he basically told him, "You're part of a science experiment doing a little caca." You know, there was Sam's memory is Swiss cheese. He has gaps in his memory, basically holes in his memory that he can't always remember things about his family or. Gotta love Duff Man. I don't know. That might be redacted. I don't know. But Sam tries, and also sometimes it shows you about time travel. Because when Sam leaped into his teenage self, he tried to warn his brother about Vietnam because his brother Tom dies in Vietnam. And he tries to warn his brother, tries to do everything to try and convince his brother to not go to Vietnam, or either on the day that he goes to Vietnam, or there's a specific day where he's supposed to die, that he's supposed to go crawl in the deepest, darkest hole he could possibly find. So, there were episodes that dealt with women's lib, equal rights, whether it was women, I mean, anyone of different race and creed. Now, what I like about Quantum Leap was they weren't afraid to tackle the tough subjects. You heard me mention that Sam dealt with rape. He leaped into a pregnant woman. He even leaped into the Civil War. That one's kind of a weird stretch, but he leaped into a pregnant woman, and towards the end of that episode, the baby disappeared from her body in the future and actually was in his body. They dealt with the stigma of rape. They dealt with race, and they didn't just deal with race on one episode. They dealt with it a lot of times because, unfortunately, Quantum Leap pulled the veil back on history. At least how I view it. They peeled the veil on history. They showed us the ugly of history. They showed us how bigoted people were, how bigoted the government was, how bigoted just society in general. They even did an episode where they showed back in the 50s when rock and roll was first coming out, how people looked at rock and roll as the worst, as satanic music. And we're talking the 50s. We're talking like people who were throwing bricks at radio stations just because they were playing Chubby Checkers and a Twist. Uh-oh. We got the Papa in the house. Busy night at work, but I had to pop in and say hello. Thank you, Papa Gord. Papa Gord, the Canadian Santa Claus, the man, the myth, the legend himself, a great friend of the channel. Guys, if you're not checking out Papa Gord, he does amazing reviews and he's just an awesome channel overall. So if you're looking for amazing content, whether it's toy reviews, Legos, Lego streams, guys, please do me a favor and check out Papa Gord. He's an amazing person, personal friend of the channel. But guys, Quantum Leap was one of those shows that it dealt with everything. Um, they dealt with one show, one episode. He leaped into an elderly black man by the name of Jesse, who he just wanted to sit at a diner counter and have lunch. But back then, there was segregation, there was hate, I mean, to me, it's kind of a Driving Miss Daisy meets racism episode, but it shows us how bigoted people were. He once leaped into a member of the KKK. And Sam, being someone who's from the Midwest and, really didn't experience that or remember experiencing that kind of treatment to people, he's fighting against it because Sam doesn't see race, he sees people. And to see someone like that, it was just, it was bringing up so many values, so many, whether you could take it political or not, he dealt with everything, guys. And that's one of the big things I remember about Quantum Leap. Quantum Leap made you, as a viewer, want to be just like Sam. Wanted you to make those decisions, and those decisions were never easy for him. By the way, sorry about that, guys. Sinuses and allergies. Be right back, guys. Sorry about that, guys. Had to take some sinus medicine. I've been under the weather past couple days. So, like I was saying, Quantum Leap dealt with everything, and I'm really hoping that the new show deals with a lot of that. Now, Quantum Leap wasn't just about just that one time traveler. In the later seasons, they dealt with they found out that there was an evil Project Quantum Leap. Don't know if it was actually called Quantum Leap, but Sam came across another time traveler named Aaliyah. He was overjoyed to meet someone else who was leaping through time. He never gave it a second thought that whether this person was leaping through time to change things for the better or not. Aaliyah was an evil leaper. She was traveling through time to make things bad. And instead of Ziggy, they had their own version of Ziggy called Lothos. She was an evil leaper. She was there to tear apart people's homes and families. Sam came across her a couple times. He even he defeated her every single time too. But let's catch up on that. Yes, Ghost is saying he remembers the Jesse episode. Now that you mention it, it was where Sam jumped into the body of an elderly black man because that was one of the first episodes I got on Voodoo. Yes. I think that was season 2 or season 3, to be honest. But it's one of those episodes. I mean, for 1989, it was groundbreaking. To me, it was world shattering in a way because you didn't really see a whole lot of that touched on. It sounds like voodoo, but it's spelled VUDU. Laxirac. Yeah, it's a digital platform where you can buy and rent movies and TV shows. Yes, it's an awesome platform. I love it. I actually buy most of my movies, everything I buy digitally or redeem digitally is right on there. You skipped my secondhand smoke comment. Come on, Dave. But that episode was tremendous. I lost my train of thought here, guys. Uh, I mean, it's a tremendous series. But going back to the Evil Leaper, he faced off with her a couple times, and then he defeated her. Not only did he defeat her, but he also saved her. He redeemed her, and we don't know if she really died or what. She could still be out there for all we know. But she was leaping to make things worse. And I'm hoping that the evil project, the evil version of Project Quantum Leap, is actually going to play a pivotal role in the new series. Why do I say that? Because, well, I've already read some plots about the new series. Okay. There's already been some plots said about the new series. Uh, and we're going to talk about the new series a little bit later, guys. But Quantum Leap was, I mean, there's a really awesome show. Now, Scott Bakula was a tremendous actor, and I don't think anyone else could have pulled off acting as Sam Beckett. I say that because there was an episode where Sam leaps into a gentleman by the name of Sam Biederman, who is a psychiatric patient at a hospital. But as he leaps in, he's being given electroshock treatment. The episode is called Shock Therapy. As he leaps in, because when he leaps, he's covered by a blue aura and there's some electric energy discharging. Very much what you see in the background right on the screen here. Okay. So when he's in this blue aura and he's got energy surging all over him, that's when he leaps into that person's body. Well, at that very same moment that he leaps in, he's also being applied with electroshock treatments, not by a doctor, but by an orderly named Butch. Okay. This shock to Sam's system hits him so hard that it actually causes him to have amnesia in a way. Sam isn't Sam anymore. It's such a traumatic shock to his system that all the people he's leaped into in the past, the memories of them, their personalities, their lives, those other egos, as they phrased it in the show, those egos were then taking Sam over. It was like a timeshare. Imagine someone with schizophrenia. That's basically what was happening. Each of those different egos, including Jesse, Jimmy Lamonta, uh, Kid Cody, Samantha Stormer, they all were taking over Sam's body at different times. Sam was never talking as Sam. He was talking as those other people. And of course, the doctors at the hospital, they didn't have any idea what this is. They just thought it was a weird case of schizophrenia. Now, because of those other egos, Sam's brainwaves were being altered by each of those personalities. Al was losing contact with Sam, because the way they communicated was through the mesons and neurons in Sam's brain. Basically, Sam's brainwaves. That's how they locked onto him. So every personality has a different brainwave. It's like a bad reception on TV or on a radio. They start losing more and more contact with Sam. Eventually, they got to the point where they needed Sam to do something in order to get back to who he was and also to restore connection. If they didn't, they were about to lose him. Eventually, Sam playing all these different characters, like he was literally playing that. Scott Bakula was actually playing those characters, and he sounded as if he were those people. I mean, he's a tremendous actor. He comes from a theater background. He was killing it. He was killing it as all those people. I swear he should have got an Emmy every year for that show. That's my personal vibe and feeling on it. But they get to the point in the episode where Al tells Sam, "You have to get another dose of shock treatment. That's the only way we're going to save you. One, that will basically put all those egos back back to where they were in the back of Sam's mind and bring Sam back to the forefront." But of course, Sam is just terrified by the sensation of the shock treatment. Eventually, he gets the doctors upset and they're going to give him shock treatment, but they want to know, oh, what was the dosage? And the nurse says, oh, it wasn't Dr. So and so, it was Butch who administered it. The doctor gets pissed off at Butch, questions Butch, and Butch takes off, and the doctor leaves the room as well. Now, Sam is in the room with the nurse. He's strapped and he's begging her, same shock as before. Give me the same shock as before. Please, all out of time. He's begging, he's pleading. This is one of the most, like, it's heart wrenching because he's talking as Jimmy LaMonta, the young man who had Down syndrome. And it's tugging on you like there's no tomorrow. She gives him the shock treatment, but when she gives him the shock treatment, there's a bolt of lightning that shoots down into the hospital, into the machine, strikes Sam, actually strikes Al, who's only a hologram, but locks onto him, and the both of them leap. They leap and they land in a new place, but it's 1945, years before Sam's birth. They switched places. Al was the leaper now, and Sam was the observer. I mean, they threw curveballs on every episode. They did stuff that was, I mean, it was one of those shows you can literally watch every week with your family. You know, it dealt with some very touchy subjects, but it didn't take things too far. There wasn't gratuitous violence. There wasn't massive explosions and killings. I mean, unfortunately, people were killed. Characters were killed in certain parts of the show, but it was things that fit into history perfectly. Let's catch up on some of the comments right here. Let's catch up. Oh, 1,000 Ghosts is killing it on Whatnot. Okay, awesome. 1,000 Ghosts, Chris Klein is a good friend of the channel. He's got an amazing channel. This guy's house is literally a toy and collectible museum. No doubt right there. You're just talking about the community. Unfortunately, the way the show, and by the way, Ghost Warrior, I'm going to talk about something that happened with the show, the final episode. So if you want to mute yourself or you want to step away from the stream for about 5 minutes, feel free to do so. Spoiler warning, I'm going to be talking about the very last episode of Quantum Leap. So you may want to step away from the stream for about 5 minutes. And speaking of 5 minutes, we got Mr. G-Force. We're talking Quantum Leap on this stream because we're going to be doing a weekly review of Quantum Leap, the new series that starts on September 19th. So now, the very last episode, see, Quantum Leap ended, but it didn't end. The very last episode dealt with Sam leaping his entire body out of the project, and he actually leaped into his body in the past. He actually leaped to the exact moment he was born, but in a bar in Cokeburg, Pennsylvania. And he finds out some secrets about Quantum Leap, about all his past 5 years of quantum leaping. He finds out who's been leaping him throughout time, and it was himself. There's this bartender that apparently knows way too much about Sam, thinking that maybe he is maybe an angel. It's alluded to because it's played by the same actor who played a character named Weird Ernie in the pilot episode. That maybe he was there at the beginning and he had to be there throughout different points in time to guide Sam, so to speak. Well, he played a bartender named Al, believe it or not. And during this episode, for about 3/4 of this episode, Al from the project could not lock onto Sam because they couldn't find where he was. There was no body to lock onto. Eventually, Sam leaped into his real body. He pulls out his wallet. It's a Velcro wallet with his driver's license in the future, which blows a lot of people away. Like, wait a minute, how is this even possible? Well, it's Quantum Leap. Everything is possible. And he finds out that other people, he sees a man vanish in a blue aura of light and electricity. Turns out that this man has been dead for years. That's what some people who die do. They are finding themselves repeating a situation over and over again until they succeed and fix what needs to be fixed. Very much like Sam does with Quantum Leap. But throughout this episode, Sam sees himself for the very first time. He sees his mirror image, his actual mirror image, and he's kind of taken aback by it. And he asks the bartender, Al, he says, "Are you God?" And he laughs. He says, No, I'm not God. And eventually he goes ahead and asks, "Who's been leaping me through time?" And he says, "Look in the mirror." Sam's like, No. There's no way. There's no way I've been leaping me through time. He says, "Why did you build Project Quantum Leap?" "To travel through time," Sam says. And he says, "Well, and why did you want to travel through time, Sam?" Sam replies, "Well, I wanted to change things. I wanted to make things better." "Well, haven't you?" That's what Al says. Haven't you been making things better?" He says, "What? I've touched a few people's lives." He's like, "Great, I got Mother Teresa here. Those lives have touched others' lives, and those lives have touched so many others. You've done a lot of good, Sam Beckett." And Sam's coming to the realization that he really has been leaping himself through time. And then he kind of says, "I owe Al something, don't I?" Sam leaps himself out, goes to Al's wife, and basically tells her that Al's coming home. The end credits end with Sam with a little text on the screen that says, "Al and Beth celebrate their 39th wedding anniversary, and they have so many daughters. Da, 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 da." And then it says, "Dr. Sam Beckett never leaps home." So we know that Sam's still out there in space and time leaping. So here's hoping that on the new show, we actually get to see Sam. Maybe we'll run into Sam. But I don't think that's going to happen right away. I definitely think it's going to be a long while before we actually see Scott Bakula, or if we see anyone we really truly recognize from the previous show. Unfortunately, Dean Stockwell will not be a part of the show because he passed this past year. Dean Stockwell, who played Al Calvici, he passed away. He was a tremendous actor. He actually started as a child actor, and he's been featured in so many movies and TV shows over the years. Those who are watching the stream right now, you might notably recognize him from Battlestar Galactica. That was the remake from the early 2000s. He was also in Beverly Hills Cop 2, and he's appeared on different shows throughout the ages. He's appeared on Stargate, SG-1. He even appeared on Star Trek Enterprise, opposite of Scott Bakula, for one episode. So he's been around there. Let's just catch up on the chat a little bit more here. We got Gap After Dark. Just talking about Quantum Leap. This is kind of a primer episode of the Leapcast. We're just discussing anything and everything. We're having a good time here, guys. Lack says he's touched a few people and aliens. Okay, TMI, Lack. TMI. But the new show, Quantum Leap, now, several things we've actually found. I've actually found various stories and news outlets that have talked about the new show. Okay. The new show is going to feature, a character by the name of Dr. Ben Song. Okay. So I'm actually going to share a screen very quickly with you guys, and hopefully we'll still have sound. I'm not sharing video. We're sharing screen. There we go. So see if we can get this to work. Okay, so this is now I found a few websites. This is TV Insider, where they talk about the new Quantum Leap series. Okay, this is our new hero, Ben Song. I found it a little hilarious. By the way, guys, let me know if you can still hear me. Let me know if you can still hear me on this, guys. So on this, sorry about that. So we have Ben Song. I find it a little hilarious that they kind of threw the initials around. Instead of Sam Beckett, SB, we have BS for Ben Song. Now, what's very interesting from what we've read here. Now, this is Ben, and this is his observer. Okay, I think her name is Addison. Now, Addison is a former military, so very similar to Al. But here's one crucial thing. Now, when Ben Ben apparently makes an unscheduled l- test of the accelerator where he steps into the accelerator and he leaps. Okay. Now, everyone's freaking out because this was not something he discussed with anyone, and he obviously knows that the accelerator is not ready to be used, but he jumps into it anyways. Now, what's very interesting is this. He apparently was receiving text messages, unknown text messages that apparently prompted him to jump into the accelerator and use it. Okay. And he finds himself in the past and he completely forgets who he is. Now, this is the new Quantum Leap team, headed by Magic Williams. Magic was actually someone that Sam leaped into during the first show and who was instrumental in saving his brother Tom in Vietnam. And then we have basically an assistant, or she could be a medical doctor. I don't know her character specifically. And this is one of the genius programmers that they have there. I think kind of like a Gushy character from the first show. Gushy was a red-haired gentleman who played by Dennis Wolfberg, who had halitosis, very bad breath. But we have a new computer programmer here. I forgot his character's name, but he's kind of like the lead scientist in place of Ben. And then, of course, we have Addison. Addison is the holographic observer, but she's also Ben's fiance. But Ben forgets this, very much like Sam in the original TV show. So we'll see what happens with all this. I'm excited. We get Ernie Hudson. Ernie Hudson does TV every now and again, but not too much. So I'm really excited to see how he is. From the trailer, it looks like he's going to be doing a very pivotal role in the show. He's kind of the head of everything, and the liaison between Project Quantum Leap and the government. So we'll be seeing a lot of that. So really looking forward to that. Let's take that right off. But there's a lot of craziness going on with this. Everyone knows you should log a pre-leap flight program. Yeah, I don't think that that's how it works, Lack. But with the new show, from what I've uncovered, I mean, comparing the two shows, there's tremendous upgrade when it comes to props and special effects. I'm going to pull up the Quantum Leap Accelerator from the first show, and I'm also going to show the control room from the first show. Okay? Let me just pull that up very quickly. Okay, so that was the accelerator from the first show. And now we're going to show you the accelerator from the new show. So there's a new accelerator, guys. Big difference between the two shows, right? Now let's take a look at the control room. Now that was 1989, 1990. So I mean, for special effects back then, it is what it is. And that was Gushy that you guys can see. Gushy and Sam's wife, Dr. Donna Alisi, when they had to send Sam back into time a second time. That was during the Leap Home episode. Now I'm going to show you guys the control room in the future in the new show. We're going to look at a few slides. I'm going to show you each of the slides very quickly. So as you guys can see, it's much more, we're getting more realistic looking technology there. It's definitely looking more cool. And this takes place during 2022. Project Quantum Leap, the new Quantum Leap takes place during 2022. The original one premiered in 1989, but every time they talked about the what year it was, they always refer to it as 1999. In Stalin's Gate, New Mexico, 1999, technically speaking. But there's a lot that I'm getting excited for. I'm apprehensive because whenever there's a reboot, we all know that the reboots aren't always as great as the originals. And I'll be honest, it looks like we're going to see a lot more of the project during the show. We're not just going to see Ben leaping through time. We're going to see the project working on different ways to get Sam or get Ben back. We're going to see them trying to do everything they can to get Ben back. And also, the reason why Ben was chosen for the new project was because, the government wanted to unlock all the secrets of the Quantum Leap Accelerator and also to find the secrets behind Sam Beckett. Why was it that it worked with him? What made Sam so special that he had to keep on leaping throughout time? And is he still out there? These are all questions that have yet to be answered, and I'm very confident that we'll answer them. As long as the show, and I think the show will do pretty well because it is being the showrunner is Martin Giroux, that people might know from Stargate, from the Stargate franchises, and also from Blind Spot on NBC. So he's already showrunned several episodes. He's an amazing writer, so I'm looking forward to this. I get a pretty good vibe about this, so we'll see what happens with this. But I like that they kind of twisted the elements of the Observer and the Leaper, so that they're, obviously she's not going to give up on him. Not only is he one of her best friends, but it's her fiance. But obviously she can't tell him that because that goes against the rules. But we'll see if they go by the same rules as the first show or not. We'll see what happens with that. I'm going to pull up some more slides from the new Quantum Leap. There you go. You can see a picture showing that they're romantically involved, or they were before leaping. So we'll see what happens with all that. I'm going to show you guys the imaging chamber and then an image of Ben leaping. So there we go. The imaging chamber looks pretty badass right there. I mean, the old imaging chamber was just a big, bright blue room. I mean, literally, you didn't see anything on the walls. You didn't see wires. You didn't see components. It was just a big, bright blue room with images swirling around Al when he would try and lock onto Sam. That's all it was. I mean, the old Quantum Leap, the old Project Quantum Leap looked like a big tin can on the inside with a bunch of bright Legos, for lack of a better wording. And this one, I mean, the special effects, they definitely did not skip on it. I'm hoping the writing they didn't skip on. I'm looking forward to this. If you're a big Quantum Leap fan, I think you have to give the show a chance. I'd say, at least if you're not psyched about the first episode, watch at least the first 2 or 3 episodes, and we'll see what happens. Okay. Um, those who are Eagle Eye fans of Quantum Leap, I'm trying to find my glasses because I'm blind as a bat. A dingbat, that is. Now, those who, if you're me, I was a DJ years ago, and I picked up on a lot of stuff. Is anyone getting a really crappy picture feed? If there's bad pictures, I'm sorry about that. I'm trying to. This is a new platform, and it could be my internet connection, so I apologize if it's really bad pictures. Sorry about that, guys. Laxan, I'm back online with the next box. So next Battletoads, I'm there. Awesome. Because we also do game streams on this channel. Couples that leap together stay together. But I'd say give it a couple episodes, guys. I'm psyched for it. Personally, I'm looking forward to it. I watched the trailer a few times, and me being a sound person, I actually picked up on hints of the original theme, the original soundtrack theme on the show. So I'm, it gets me into nostalgia. I'm getting some pretty good vibes off of the trailer. Um, it is weird seeing someone else leaping. That I think is what's kind of throwing me for a loop at first, but we'll see what happens. Um, I'm psyched for it. I'm hoping for the best. Every Monday after the show airs, we're going to do a live stream where we talk about the show, where we talk about the new Quantum Leap. We talk about and discuss everything that happened throughout the episode. Um, hello there, they gone. They gone's in the house. Just doing a quick kind of a primer on doing a crash course on the original Quantum Leap and talking about the new Quantum Leap. Um, as I said, we know Addison, the leaper, or not the leaper, the observer. She's former military, but she is also the love interest for Ben. As before Ben leaps into the past. Now the complete background is we have Ben's song, dedicated quantum physicist Ben Song, who we meet when he celebrates his engagement to whip smart colleague Addison Augustine, played by Caitlin Bassett, a military vet making her debut. Surrounding them are the close knit Quantum Leap team. Cynical security analyst Jen Chow, that's the young lady that we saw in the red shirt and tan blazer. Brainy intelligence scientist Ian Wright, played by Mason Alexander Park. If you saw the Sandman series on Netflix, Mason Alexander Park has featured in many of those episodes. And then we see the supportive boss Herbert Magic Williams, who was a character that that Sam leaped into during the original show. Yes, General, if you don't know, there is a new Quantum Leap that's going to be airing later this year, or actually later this month, actually. So yeah, there's a lot going on. There's a new Quantum Leap that starts the 19th. It's going to be a brand new series. Well, not brand new, but it is a continuation of the original Quantum Leap. Let me just show you guys. Let me pull up the screen share again. If it wants to work. So yeah, here we are. This is Herbert Magic Williams. Ernie Hudson plays him. So yeah, this makes up our team. It looks like there's a lot more background people. Maybe there will be some more side characters. So we'll see what happens with that. Let's catch up on the chat here. This is blowing my mind right now. I've been living under a rock that I missed a trailer. Yeah, there is a trailer on YouTube. I would play it here, but I don't want to get hit with copyright strikes, so I do apologize for that. Holy heck, I'm going to have to crack crack open some Schlitz beer. Nice callback. Uh, General's killing me. He's got the best callback of all time. Schlitz was the beer that Sam drinks in the very last episode of Quantum Leap, and he drank it out of a schooner. So awesome, General. General gets 10 points for that one. But yeah, there's a lot going on with the new Quantum Leap. I'm sorry I don't have a whole lot of pictures to share here. Let me see if I can pull this one up. So this one, we get some more images of, we get Ben in action right there. This is a little mini trailer we could play, but I'm not going to play it because I don't want to get hit with strikes. We all know how that. And again, there's not much going on. All we know is this, okay? We know that Deborah Pratt, who was who's one of the original executive producers and also the narrator for the show, she also voiced Ziggy, the parallel hybrid computer. So maybe she'll be back to voice Ziggy again. I will love that. All that we know about the story is we know Addison and Ben are engaged, but what prompts Ben to go into the accelerator to begin with is this. He gets some text messages. We don't know what those messages are. It could be threatening a love interest. It could be threatening his friends and coworkers. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what these messages are, but these messages are so shattering to him that he jumps into the accelerator and makes his first leap. Now, my hope is this. My hope is now the evil project that obviously over the past 30 years they've had to have their own leapers. So I'm hoping that maybe this project was forcing Ben to do this. And maybe we'll see some action between the evil leapers and Project Quantum Leap. And that's one of my hopes for the series. And also, I'm really hoping for Lex, as we used to put away Schlitz. But guys, I'm really hoping for the best, and I'm hoping Scott Bakula gets involved. I would really love to see what happened with Sam. Has Sam been leaping all this time on his own past 30 years? At what point did he lose communication with the project? Was it right away? Was Al trying to get a hold of him every now and again? Were they able to maintain contact on and off? Did they lose contact after maybe Al passed away? Quantum Leap was something that I watched on TV. There's actually some fan made movies out there on the internet if you can look for it. There's a nice one that was kind of done. It wasn't the greatest, but it was done pretty well, where it featured Sam leaping into someone who was there to prevent Princess Diana from dying. He didn't. But the twist of it all was he was able to get it so that she was able to call her sons before that fateful night before she would die. That was a very nice little show. It wasn't bad. It could have been worse. I've seen worse out there. There's a slew of novels, paperback novels. After the show ended, there was probably about maybe 20 or so paperback novels of Quantum Leap continuing Sam and Al. There's even one called, I think it was called Double Identity, where actually Sam leaped into twin brothers. There's another one where he leaped into um, a rescue, like a search and rescue pilot. There's a bunch of good stories out there if you can find them somewhere, either at a local bookshop. I don't think they're on digital anymore. I wish they would because I would love to get them back again. Speaking of back again, we got Vern. Vern is in the house. Oakhurst Studios. We're talking Quantum Leap. We're talking about the new Quantum Leap as well. About the new team for Quantum Leap. Talking about also the new scenes, the new sets that they have for the new Quantum Leap. There's a few more slides from the show. So tell me, guys, what do you think about this? Give me a thumbs up if you're looking forward to the new show. I really want to know if you guys are looking forward to it or not. I'm looking forward to it. Just like with any show, I want to give it as much of a chance as possible. I'm not going to damn it. I think it still is. Will the show work in today's day and age? That's another question. In 2022, unless they keep some kind of a pace or some kind of an interest, what do you guys think is the chance that this is gonna look great? Vern says my favorite episode is when he is on his honeymoon on the train. Yes, that one where he played a cop named Nick, I think it was, who was on a honeymoon with his wife, who was studying to be a lawyer. Eventually, would become a senator that would eventually grant funding for Project Quantum Leap, at least for another year. Vern is saying hello to everyone, saying hello to Linda, Lack, Vagon. He says yes. Looking forward to it. Well, Vern, every Monday night after it airs, I will be at 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, unless I decide to change it. Right now, we're going to be doing a live stream after each episode, live 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. As soon as the show ends, going to be live and talking about everything Quantum Leap. I know that gives very little time, but I figured, hey, we're going to have to hit the iron, hit while the iron's hot. So I'm really looking forward to Quantum Leap. I just want to know what happens to Sam. That's what I really want to know. I want to hear the rumblings, because obviously, if Magic took over, he's having such an integral part with the project that he has to have memories of Sam. My whole thing is, what are the odds of a Vietnam vet that Sam leaped into, just so happens to leap into, would actually wind up working at Project Quantum Leap, unless he had some kind of memories, some loose memories in his mind of Sam Beckett. I mean, it's just too coincidental, unless it was like maybe he made an oath to Tom that if he ever got the chance to work with his brother, he would keep an eye out for his brother. It could be something like that. Yes, Gap. I'm 11 o'clock at night. I know I'm a madman. I'm a madman in a box without a box. What can I say? Vern says they should remember being in the chamber while Sam is in their body. Well, that's the thing. In the episode The Leap Home, Sam started losing all the memories of the people he leaped into. It's a kind of a ripple effect, but I'm sure there's an exception to every rule. So I mean, I would love it that to me, it just would make so much sense that he has memories of Sam and of Project Quantum Leap, or he remembers Al. I mean, that just makes perfect sense. And remember, Al was a POW during that episode, and he gets repatriated several years later. Who's to say Magic isn't a part of the platoon that eventually frees Al? And the two of them became very good friends over the years. And maybe when Al was getting towards the end of his days, he reached out to Magic and says, "I need you to keep an eye out. I need you to be there for when Sam comes back." That, to me, that would be the greatest. That would be the best. I would love that to be the situation. Hey, Sonny's in the house. Yeah, we're talking about the old and the new Quantum Leap. Just catch up here. Remember, someone escaped the oh God, Lionel. No, something Styles. I'm forgetting the guy's first name. The character's last name was Styles. Uh, Leonard, or it was some weird first name. Uh, Styles. He broke out of the chamber, and Al had to hunt him down, and Gushy had to take Al's place, at least for the time being. It was a poor reception too. I remember that. I know the episode you're talking about. That was, I mean, it was an intense episode. No, it was Styles. I want to say that the last name was Styles. Gap says he'll give it a shot. Yeah, I mean, Quantum Leap, I think, is, if you remember watching it back in the day, it's one of those Al is now Sally. No, no. Her name is Addison, actually, and she's former military. So, hey, we'll see what happens. The lower you can keep your expectations, the lesser is the chance that you might be disappointed, though you should keep it at a decent level. Well, as far Sonny, as far as the expectations, you're talking to a Buffalo Bill fan. I've watched the Bills go four Super Bowls in a row and lose four Super Bowls in a row twice to the same team. So my expectations are realistic. I have realistic expectations, but given that we have showrunner and writer Martin Giroux, who was a big integral part of Quantum Leap, or not Quantum Leap, but he was an integral part of Blind Spots. Well, he ran Blind Spot, wrote for Blind Spot, and also a big part of Stargate SG-1 and also Stargate Atlantis. So I have very realistic expectations, but they are a bit high. I would say they're higher than I would anticipate for most reboots. A number of years ago, uh, maybe 10 or more years, maybe less, NBC tried to reboot Knight Rider. It was a different concept. It was more of a continuation, very much like Quantum Leap is a continuation. Did it hit its mark? No. It felt very procedural. It was like criminal of the week type situation. And I get the feeling this show's not going to be it. This show's going to have a consistent storyline that is arcing throughout the entire series. That's not just going to be, oh, this is the leap of the week. This is the right that has, I think it's going to have many different elements, and I think that's where they're going to succeed. I think if that's how their approach is, I think if that's how they attack it, that is going to be a winning formula, but we'll see how well. I mean, just because it's a winning formula from this person's perspective doesn't mean it's going to be a winning formula for everyone out there. Mind you, they're airing this show on Monday nights at 10 p.m. My problem with this is I see it as they're they're filling a show on Monday nights. Let's face it, Monday nights is one of the toughest nights because we got Monday Night Football. Okay, we got Monday Night Football for one. Now, having it air at 10 p.m. instead of 8 or 9 p.m., I think their logic is, oh, if the Monday Night Footballs are not, if the football game is not that entertaining, maybe people are going to switch off around halftime. Maybe they'll switch over to NBC and they'll watch Quantum Leap. I think that's their motivation with that. I think it's poor. I think it would have done better on a Tuesday or maybe Wednesday. Also, you have Monday Night Raw with WWE Wrestling. There's a lot of things that pop up on Monday nights. I don't think it's the most sound scheduling. That's my one gripe with NBC. I don't think it's proper scheduling, but this is similar to what they did with the original Quantum Leap. They moved the show around on different time slots all the damn time. What I think the saving grace will be for the show is this. It's going to be available on Peacock. I don't think it's going to be on Peacock at the same time. I think it'll probably be available the very next day. I think that they would be the only saving grace is it's going to be on Peacock, but also NBC is also USA Network. It's also Sci-Fi Channel. There's, it's comprised of different channels. So I think the online platform is going to help. But also, if they air episodes on different channels like USA and Sci-Fi, they're going to grab onto people who are maybe just flipping through channels. They come across and say, "Hey, wait a minute, this is Quantum Leap. Yeah, maybe I'll stick on it for a few minutes." I think that's going to be the only way that this show is going to have a true and honest chance to get a new audience and to grab onto the old audience and to be consistent. I think Monday night is a death sentence for most TV shows because let's face it, majority of people out there are going to be Monday Night Football or WWE Wrestling. So I'm just looking at it like this. As long as you have those two big titans, those two big shows, those two big programs, you're going to be you're going to be going against the grain. And I think that's one of the biggest problems that we're going to be facing right now. Let's catch up. Man, I'm working with this new material I found and I love it. Sheets of polystyrene and making dumpster and some Star Wars door out of it. Definitely something to be those that don't know Duffman's Diorama, it's all in his name. He makes dioramas for figures and collectibles. He's got amazing imagination when it comes to anything and everything. So that's what he's talking about right now. He's talking about some of the media, the materials that he works with. He does some amazing dioramas, and also Oakhurst Studios, Vern, does some amazing work as well, guys. Vern did amazing. If you're into Marvel Comics, Vern did this amazing Iceman, kind of like a ice sled kind of thing. It looked tremendous. A lot of people you're seeing in the chat right now, they are mostly toy collectors and reviewers who make amazing content that you don't want to miss out. By the way, please do me a favor and check out Duffman's Diorama. Here's a link to his Instagram. If you guys are interested, go ahead and check that out. Wait, did you say NBC had Quantum Leap from time slot to time slot? Trying to put I love that, Vern. I love it. I love it. I love it. Let me just pull that up. Vern had commented, especially that hour, Dave. 10 p.m. kills a show that is not more adult themed audience. Exactly. I agree with that 100%. That's the thing. I mean, I was hoping like, oh, maybe they'll do it at 8 o'clock. They'll catch the people who are tuning in before the football game, and maybe those people will DVR it. And that's another thing. With technology, we have DVR. We have physical cable boxes that digitally video record, and we also have cloud DVR. There's a lot of carriers out there that do cloud DVR now, so you can digitally record these shows. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, 10 p.m. has always been a death sentence unless you're like, Law and Order or something like that. I mean, it's not likely to really grab people. Hopefully, they don't do what they did with Almost Human. Almost Human was a great show. You're talking. There's a show on Fox called Almost Human. Slight dip into the future where you had a cop paired up with an android but looked human. Personally, I really enjoyed that show. It actually starred Carl Urban in it. It was a pretty good show. The show was very expensive, and he showed it partially out of order and essentially killed the show. Well, that's Fox. Fox tends to kill shows like crazy. I'm sure you'll agree. Yep. Sonny says Almost Human was a great show. Too bad they killed it after only one season. Yeah, I mean, most shows really try to find their legs after a season or two. You got to give it enough chance. We still need, yes, Scott Bakula. Yep, definitely we need Scott back. And Scott was actually filming a pilot for a show, but the show wasn't picked up. So now he is free. He is free. He's not attached to any projects. And personally, I've heard through different outlets and different news outlets that he would love to come back as Scott Bakula for Quantum Leap. I would really love to see that. We need Oh Boy. And by the way, I want everyone in the chat to tell me, what do you guys think should be Ben's new catchphrase? Obviously, he can't say "Oh boy." I mean, that's Scott Bakula. That is Sam Beckett's line. I love this. This has to be the line of the night. Wait, did you say NBC has Quantum Leap from time to time? Trying to put right the ratings for the slot? Probably. But it would be interesting if Quantum Leap actually excels in that time slot and if it actually does pretty well. I mean, you got to think, after the pandemic, after everything else has gone wrong, it would be refreshing to see if we had an awesome show like this actually do well and excel in that time slot. It would be pretty amazing. Is it likely? Bloody not. It's not going to happen. Lax says, as president of the free and equal alien human love movement, I approve this message from Dave. Oh, I appreciate it. Again, by the way, if anyone wants to hop in and join me in the discussion right on here, I'm going to copy the link and we're going to throw it in the chat. Once again, if anyone wants to hop in and join the discussion here. Would love someone to be online, someone to jump and actually have a voice here. Come on, you guys have to be tired of hearing me talk nonstop. Maybe it's yeah, like in the trailer, he's actually in the space shuttle that's going up. I hope it's not Challenger. That might be, I don't know if that would be a little too soon, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with that. Vern says, hence the 10 p.m. time slot. I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, I think Tuesday would be better. Tuesday or even Wednesday. I think Friday and Mondays are the worst. Friday and Mondays are the worst because you got Monday Night Football and wrestling on Monday nights. Fridays, it's the weekend. Let's face it. Majority of us YouTubers, we're watching everyone else's streams. Colbane has his Friday night stream, where he does game streams. I mean, there's so many other streams going on. There's Clink. There's so many things going on. It's the weekend. People are going out. Maybe you're spending time with family. You're having dinner, getting drinks, whatever's going on. I mean, there's just so much that is. I just too soon. Too soon. Yeah, pretty much. Uh, I mean, it's going to be interesting because obviously Ben is my age. I'm 43. I'm going to be 44. Ben's probably in his late 30s. I would say late 30s. I don't think he's 40 yet. He's probably got to be like I would say mid 30s. So, I mean, you figure, okay, that age, you're probably talking someone who was born. Now, since he leaped into 1985, we know, okay, he's at least got to be, I mean, if he was, let's say 1985 was the year he was born, because in the trailer we see 1985. So I mean, you're talking about what 30? He maybe 36. Let's just say he's around 36 or so, right? So I mean, we're going to see mostly 80s and 90s references in the trailer. We see him in desert fatigues, about to jump out of an airplane. So we're probably going to see Desert Storm or Desert Shield. We're going to see Middle East deployments. We're going to see a lot of stuff that's happened through the 90s and the 80s. But that's another thing, guys. The 80s and 90s are so big right now with Stranger Things and so many other shows. That 90s nostalgia. In fact, a buddy of mine is out seeing a band called Newfound Glory tonight. And that was a band he saw when he was in high school. So maybe if Quantum Leap latches on the nostalgia of the 90s, some of the events that we had in the 90s, it could be pretty interesting. I mean, back in the late 80s, we had the Berlin Wall come down. Going into the 90s, like the whole Y2K scare. It's going to be interesting to see them using the different type of cell phones from the 80s to the 90s. There's a lot of stuff that could be going on. There's a lot of stuff that we could see that could be really fun. And if they do it just right, they could get that nostalgic hook into people. Maybe it'll do well. I mean, that's my hope. That's my hope for this. We'll see what happens with that. But I mean, we'll see what happens. Nick Fury and the Howling Commandos featuring They Gone. But guys, let me know if you're a fan of Quantum Leap. What do you want to see in the show other than Sam Beckett come back? Who or what would you like to see in the show? Is there a certain event from the 80s and 90s or the early 2000s that you think you might want to see featured in the show? Do you want to see political stuff? Like, are we going to see, some stuff with Trump? Or are we going to see stuff with, maybe the differences in rock music, rock and rap? I mean, you know, let's catch up. Lex's Y2K scare. Come on, who is scared? I actually studied COBOL programming in college because at the time that was a big thing, and that was 1998, 1999. So literally, that was right before the whole. That was the heights of the Y2K scare. Those that don't know, back before the year 2000, like literally the first 2 or 3 years before 2000, everyone realized that most computers only had a 2-digit clock. It only looked at instead of a year, like 1998, it would just say 98. So people were fearing that once it hit 2000, it would actually make all the computers react as if it was 1900, which would mess up insurance, social security. It was this big, massive scare, and companies were pushing people to learn COBOL programming so that they could go out there and create programs to prevent these kinds of issues from happening. Fortunately, Y2K did not turn out to be a thing, and we're still here. Do you think they're going to have a Y3K and forget and say, "Oh, it's just only 1,000 years away"? Yeah, I think we're pretty good, considering most of us are going to be dead and dust way before that even hits. Let's see. Dagon says Patriot Act. I know. I want to see him leap. Gap, you're killing me, Gap. Gap wants to see him leap into Madonna. Too easy. I'm not going to say it. But hey, I mean, what if we speaking of Madonna, what if we had him, what if he leaped into Weird Al? Or I mean, there's a lot of celebrities that we could have him leap into. They did do some well-known celebrities in the last season of Quantum Leap. They had like I said before, they had Elvis. He leaped into Marilyn Monroe's driver, and also he leaped into Lee Harvey Oswald. They did in the show, they also used to do this thing called Kiss with History, guys. They did this thing called Kiss with History, where Sam would run into someone or do something that gave inspiration to someone else. He met a young Buddy Holly who was singing Peggy Sue. He was like, "Well, try Peggy," and he was singing. He came up with the lyrics for Peggy Sue, Peggy Sue. He ran into a young Stevie King. Yes, Stephen King as a young man. So I mean, and it just so happens that his mother pulled up in a classic car with their dog Cujo. Yeah, obviously this is all kind of, it's made up, but it's a bit of fun. There's these awesome kisses with history. They actually had Chubby Checker on the show, and he ran into Chubby Checker when he was Good Morning Peoria was the episode where he's a 1950s disc jockey. And this is an episode that actually was about rock and roll music and how people were totally against it back in the 50s. And he meets Chubby Checker, and he starts doing the twist, and Chubby's like, "Wait, that's good. Wait, show me how you're doing it." And it was a whole thing. He leaped into Dr. Ruth Westheimer. He did meet a young Michael Jackson. There was an episode called The Kamikaze Kid, where he played this teenager whose sister was getting married to this nozzle, this jerk. And he, at the wedding, like the wedding rehearsal dinner, he comes across these group of kids all dressed up because they're performing at another wedding. And there's this little kid, and he like looks at the kid. He just starts doing some Michael Jackson moves, and shows the kid how to do a moonwalk and stuff. Mind you, this is like maybe in the 60s. And you know, the little kid turns around because he hears one of his brothers calling for him. He's like, "Come on, Michael." And Sam just kind of like, "So, huh?" So, yeah, they did these little kisses with history. And I kind of hope they kind of bring that back on the show, too. I like to see him leap into the year one of our society. If he leaps into 1986, actually, that was 1987. Vern is referencing Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home. That might have been filmed in 1986, but it came out in 1987, where the crew of the Enterprise use a Klingon bird of prey, and they travel back in time to get a pair of humpback whales to save the future, where they land in 1987 San Francisco. But yeah, that's like to see him. Let's see. If he leaps into 2015, he can help save Marty's son. I don't know if there is saving Marty's son. Marty's son was a bit of a wimp. Let's be honest. Oh, by the way, any of my toy collectors out there, on my toy friends, if any of you come across the new 1985 Doc Brown in the white radiation suit, please message me on Instagram. I'm looking for that. If anyone can find that, that'd be great. And by the way, speaking of Instagram, guys, please do not hesitate. Please don't hesitate to follow us. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. You can hit me up on Instagram at Daves_Dimension. You can hit me up on Twitter at DimensionsDaves. And also on YouTube at youtube.com/C/Dave's Dimension. So thank you guys. Catch up here. Chat's getting away from me. Who was Buddy Holly's original bassist? Anyone? He was supposed to be on the plane. Honestly, I don't know. Lack says Waylon Jennings. Also like to see him leap into the time before dinosaurs. Yeah, that doesn't work that way, Gap. Because in the original Quantum Leap, Sam could only leap within his own lifetime. So, based on that same logic, if we carry that over into the new show, Ben is only going to be able to leap within his own lifetime. The only exception to that rule was Sam was able to leap into an ancestor, his great grandfather, during the Civil War. That was the only true, like, great great grandfather, I think it was, whose name also I think was Samuel Beckett, and not the playwright. Um, that's the only exception to the rule. The only time Sam leaped out of his own lifetime was when he leaped into his great great grandfather during the Civil War, and also when him and Al leaped because they simultaneously leaped together, and it was because it was Al. It was within Al's lifetime in 1945. So, I mean, there was that. And it's a couple of sad comments about the first quantum leap was Sam never leaped home, but also his wife never got him back. Because the way when the show started, Donna Alisi left Sam Beckett at the altar years before he even started the project. While during one of his leaps, he was able to help. He actually ran into her as a young person, and he helped her fix some father issues that she had. And eventually, when he did leap back into the future during the simul leap, he was married to Donna. But Al kept it a secret because, oh, he wouldn't be able to do all the things he did leaping through time if he knew that he had a wife back there. So, but we will see what happens. It's going to be very interesting. Vern says he can leap to 2008, tell me to buy some Bitcoin, or leap into the late 90s and or the 90s and tell me not to, maybe to bet against the Bills. I don't know. I know I'm terrible. Did he ever leapfrog? No. Well, he might have known Jeremiah, who was a bullfrog. I don't know. I mean, yeah, we're starting to show. Will this show last the season? I don't know. NBC has canceled shows after 8 or 10 episodes or even less. I mean, we'll know on September 19th. Vern's jumping out of here. He's saying, "Have a great night, everyone." Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see. And by the way, guys, don't forget every Saturday there's Three Men and a Monkey Lizard. You want to check them out on Twitter and on YouTube. All you have to do is do hashtag 3MML on Twitter, and you'll find Three Men and a Monkey Lizard. They do amazing streams every Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern, so please check them out. Vern, Salacious Rum, Dude's Nerdery. Please, guys, check them out. It's always an amazing time. Black says, "See you, Vern." Ernest goes to bed. So, guys, there we are. I think I pretty much covered just about everything we have kind of that we know about the new Project Quantum Leap and the old Quantum Leap for the most part. We could sit here for hours talking about the original Quantum Leap, about the episodes, about some of the insanity, like leaping as a sheriff during a hurricane. Um, he's actually Sam leapt into one person's life 3 separate times. The trilogy's 3 episodes where he leaped into the life of a young girl who was accused of killing someone. Then he runs into her again when she's a woman, and also he leaps into her life again as a lawyer who's defending her. And turns out finds out that during the second episode, when he leaped in a very compromising position. Wink, wink, pop, pop, fizz, fizz. And that resulted in Sam having a daughter named Sammy Jo Fuller. And towards the end of the series, they found out that Sammy Jo was actually working on Project Quantum Leap and was working on a theory to bring Sam home. So maybe we'll see Sammy Jo as part of the project. That would be pretty cool. But guys, it's about 10:30. I'm going to say we're going to call this stream. Guys, I apologize for all the technical difficulties that we had ahead of time. We now know what those difficulties are, that there's no sound. When I'm showing slides, I'm going to be working on that. I'm actually going to be emailing and reaching out to EV Mux, which is the streaming platform we're using instead of StreamYard. We're going to work out these bugs. It's going to be a great time. Guys, I want to thank everyone who stopped through. I want to thank Gap After Dark. We got Lack Sevrak. They Gone. Oakhurst Studios. I mean, Rolando Flores. I mean, everyone who stopped through, you guys are amazing. You're all friends and family here, guys. Appreciate everyone who stopped through, even Ghost Warrior. Welcome to the family. And guys, we got 14 likes during this stream. We'll see what we pick up on the after show. Hopefully the next show, the actual review show for the premiere, which is on the 19th, we're not gonna be using slides for that one. So it's just gonna be a pure reaction stream. I'm actually trying to get a few guests on. So if anyone who is planning to watch Quantum Leap wants to hop on, we're going to have open link in the chat so anyone can join in. I'm actually trying to see if we can arrange to have the Wolfpack toy review join us because he's a big Quantum Leap fan. But guys, there we are. Once again, apologize for the technical difficulties, but we got things running afterwards. It took a few minutes, but we got it going. I want to thank Linda. I want to thank Kat. I want to thank Sunny. I want to thank everyone who stopped through. We got Gail Lenda, I should say. Everyone who popped through today, you guys are awesome. You're amazing. Remember, guys, and also General, you are awesome. Thank you for stopping in. And I hope you'll jump in the future. And guys, I just want to also say thank you. Lack is saying Earthlings unite, alien invasion is imminent. No, you got the zombie apocalypse because that's gonna happen, and then the aliens are gonna look at us and say, we don't even want anything to do with you guys. That's what's gonna happen. Come on. Get it straight. Of course, Duffman's Diorama, thank you for hopping through. Ghost Warrior 38, Papa Gord. I mean, everyone who stopped through, you guys are amazing. You guys, like I said, every stream I do is an open stream. I want you guys to remember that Monday night starting September 19th, we're going to have review episodes for Quantum Leap at 11 p.m. Eastern. Tuesday nights at 9 p.m., we do a game stream. We do the Tuesday night extreme game stream. I don't know which game we're going to do this week because we had some technical difficulties with the Xbox. So I think I have that worked out. And on Thursdays, we do Thursday Night Live, where we discuss anything and everything going on in the world of pop culture, whether it's movies, music, collectibles, or just some reviews, or just hanging out, shooting the crap. So, guys, as always, I want to thank everyone for stopping in. I thank everyone for being a part of the Dimension. This channel is Dave's Dimension, the channel which is your home for tech, toys, and talk, and also the channel where chaos and insanity will always reign supreme. So, guys, until next time, keep on busting, and I will always catch you on the flip side. Thank you for being a part of the Leapcast.